Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Naeem Mushtaq here. And today we are very, very blessed and honored to have Sister Victoria and Brother Tafazal from UK as our guest. And we will be discussing courtship before marriage for Muslim youth. And this is a part of series of Coffee with Friends. And I'm very honored and very blessed. Thank you very much for your time and your presence here in the program. First of all, I would love to, Brother Tafazul and Sister Victoria, to tell us about yourself.
You go ahead,
Well, my name is Victoria Mateski, and first of all, Tafazul is my husband. We are married, and we have an incredible mission that we have begun called T for Two, as both of us are certified coaches, and we work with Muslims from all over the world that are looking to create, cultivate, and celebrate love in all of its forms, whether they have never been married or are currently married, or they're looking to heal from a divorce even at that stage. So through both of our lives, we have had so much experience, personal experience and professional experience, and really have just felt compelled and drawn to do this as our mission in life.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I concur with what Victoria is saying. I think the journey to where we are today has been a very organic journey, and we have really been there and done it, and have the T-shirt for it as well, as they say.
Too many T-shirts.
We have so much mashallah experience, but we not only have the experience, we've also got the technical skills as well. So as Victoria said, we're both relationship coaches and well-being coaches. So we talk about this and we address this with our clients, and it's a joy. It's a real joy. It's our passion. It's our mission. We really get excited when we're able to help singles or even couples to see through those things, their blocks that they have in bettering themselves, in bettering their relationships. And I think the topic today is very apt in helping Muslim youth to understand some of those nuances. When we're talking about relationships,
Exactly.
What does it actually mean? Because a relationship is a very loaded word, but I think it rolls off our tongues very quickly as well.
And I think for both of us, we're both grandparents. We have adult children, and alhamdulillah, we have really seen and lived and experienced it within our own families and in our own, like you were saying, our own experience. And so it is something very near and dear to our heart, especially for the youth.
Yes.
MashaAllah. You both have grandchildren.
Yes, we do.
Oh, I thought you are both in your early 20s.
MashaAllah, yes. Must be the lighting actually.
But I was surprised to also see Sister Victoria. I think one of the core skill of courtship is to be a good photographer, because when you capture one another in photographs, this also gives a lot of happiness, things like that. So I was surprised to see, and I was also surprised to see your luck after a lot of ups and downs in life to get, life partner who is not only a coach, also a good photographer, and she has a sense of a mission in life. Yes. And this is indeed a many blessing in one.
No, absolutely, and actually, it was unexpected, and I think that's the most important thing. If I was to say something, sometimes you do the work, and you expect something or don't expect anything, but when something exceeds your expectations,
exactly,
then mashallah, it's divine intervention. It's something that the Almighty had reserved for you at a certain point in time when you was ready. So I wasn't ready before this, but I feel now with the work that I did with my previous divorce, alhamdulillah, I was able to then get to a point where she could even see me and recognize me as somebody worthy, mashallah.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of the journey when we start talking about self-care and get into this, and especially anyone younger listening, really of any age, that you cannot attract your ideal partner if you are not taking care of yourself first. And that was really the beautiful foundation for us meeting, is that we were both our frequencies resonated so strongly from even 4,000 miles away. As you can hear, I have an American accent. We met many years ago now, but we resonated with each other because of the level of care we instituted within our own lives. And that was the only reason that I believe that Allah knew it was time for us to come together. So it's very, very important, you know, because we could be looking and looking, and so many people have for so many years until they, you know, trying the same thing over and over again, where they're not having results. It doesn't work unless you start to take care of yourself.
Yeah, maybe the case is that with the inability to do work, or you don't do the work, you're still at the same. It's almost like a game, you know, you're still on the same level one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you do the work, you practice the moves, and you know what techniques to use on yourself, you improve, and therefore you go to level 2. And I think many people miss the fact that, you know, the more work you do on yourself, the higher the level becomes. And then at the level at the top is where you will meet your ideal. Right. So
yeah. The other day I was talking to you, and as you are saying now, that people are working very hard on self-care, but sometimes they are working hard with their door closed.
Right. Yes.
And when you told me that Sister Victoria told you, you know, be guarded, but at the same time be open. This was a very beautiful sentence. I think she summarized the entire philosophy of courtship. Is to protect yourself, polish yourself, but at the same time be open. Yes. And I was thinking, since both of you are, mashallah, certified coaches, but in a married life, mostly woman is the head coach and the man is under the coaching process.
Yes, that's right.
This is a beautiful relationship because many area of manhood, only the woman can see. And I remember one of the leading Sufi master, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. He wrote a book, Ghuniyatul Talibin, in Arabic. And this is a constitution for his disciples. And in one of the chapters, he says, he teaches his disciple how to treat their family, especially the wife. He said, when you enter the house, you are not a master, you are a servant. The master of the house is the wife. You are only a master of the house, of the family, when you are outside the house, in front of the world. You are a protector of the family, but when it comes to the family, she is the master of the house. So sometimes we define, when we are, you know, in the downside, in the Muslim communities, we come up with our own concepts and ideas. And I think this idea of both of you as a husband and wife, you know, working with a mission to uplift the Muslim youth, especially when most of our theology is based on interfaith maybe, or God focused, but they are not focused on love, romance, and living a daily life, simple life, trying to connect with one another through heart to heart, not just the mind to mind. And that's why maybe arranged marriages are considered to be a part of Islam. I think this is not the right thing. Our youth should be properly trained to polish this emotion of love and romance through self-care. And this is what we are going to discuss. Now, coming to the topic is courtship before marriage for Muslim youth. My first question is, we use the word courtship. What is the real difference between the courtship and dating?
Sure. I mean, some people might say it's semantics, that, you know, you can use them interchangeably, right? But the connotations we have with dating are that, you know, it's very free, it's open, there's no seriousness in it.
There's no strings attached.
No strings attached, you know, I can go in, go out, and I'm sorry to say, try before you buy, and all those kind of things.
Yes.
Where there isn't a seriousness to the whole thing. There may be an intention to meet someone, but really it's just a date, right? And you can have multiple dates. Whereas courtship has a different foundation altogether. And courtship is with the primary focus and intention that it's a very Allah-centered approach. Meaning it's based within our faith that I have to be conscious in every encounters I have with this person, remembering Allah, remembering the Almighty. So my conversations, the way I speak, the way I interact, the way I exchange things is it's we know that Allah is present, but remembering those things when we're interacting. So nothing is, we wouldn't do those things that would basically violate those things. And therefore there's a sense of integrity, there's a sense of honor, there's honesty, transparency, and all those wonderful things, commitment as well. So once you make your mind up that you want to be in a courtship with somebody, it's I'm committing this person to see if this person is the person I want to marry.
I think it's also about an intention for marriage, very strong from the beginning. Whether or not this may or may not be the right person for you, that's to be decided. But whereas dating, like we said, it's try before you buy. I'm not really sure. I just want to have no strings attached and just have some fun, get to know you. Whereas a courtship, it's really good to come in with that intention for marriage. I'm not coming here to play around. I'm not seeing multiple people. I really, at the end, if this works out, desire to be married. And that intention is it's so important. It really is what separates Muslims from the rest of the world in our approach to marriage. And we tend, like you say, we're not great at combining the traditions of our faith and the reality of the world today. And we need to get better at that because it is not, it's not that we're suggesting that you can't meet somebody and get to know them and have a real conversation, but when your intentions are in place and you have that protective mechanism, we talked about being guarded. As Muslims, we do that. That's why we have the presence of a wali. That's why we have family members and community members that are supportive and in knowledge of our connection. Even us as the older folk, as you would say, and both have been previously married and had adult children and were grandparents, I still involved my imam and still contacted him and still did my checks and balances. And we did all the things because it's important at any stage. And that's what really does separate us from the traditional idea of dating. It just doesn't work within our religion. It just doesn't.
And we don't suggest this because it sounds good. This is exactly what Victoria and I did.
Absolutely.
So over 4 months across, continents, right, 4,000 miles away, we were conversing with each other very respectfully, but yet at the same time, we got to know each other very deeply, I'd say.
Absolutely.
To a point where we decided that I want to marry her, she wants to marry me. And when she arrived in the UK, we had our nikah planned for 2 days after. And we were ready, mashallah. So it's possible to know someone at a deep level without meeting them.
In a halal manner. And I think this is what we are working on and we're passionate about, is teaching people how to do this in today's world, how to have these real heart depth conversations in a halal manner. And the first step really is instituting self-care. And we're talking about this, we are walking around blind and we're thinking that self-care is about being physically attractive, right? Before you get married, you're going to get in the gym, you're going to lose some weight. And while that's important, that's great. Being physically attractive, it's a great way to get attention, but being mentally attractive is a great way to keep it. So you have to know yourself. And how can you possibly get to know someone else if you don't know what's important to you truly and how to articulate it? How to even ask those questions. And especially young people, they have no idea. For instance, we've heard about Dr. Gary Chapman's The Love Languages. It's everywhere.
Exactly. I know.
The primary way of receiving and expressing love. So if you, for example, I knew my love language was physical touch. Number one, how do I, in a halal way, ask a brother if he can meet that love language before we're married, because we're not touching, we're not physically connected. So you have to ask those questions. I asked him real life scenario questions. How would you feel if we left Juma prayer and I held your hand? Would it be uncomfortable for you, or would you prefer not, to do that?
So that was the first time ever I got asked that question. And I thought, oh my God, all these brothers that I know will be thinking he's holding hands, right? Then I thought to myself, well, if she's married to me, what's the issue? So I said to her, well, there's no issue there because you're my wife, obviously. We're married and it's an expression of love and connection. So I said, I don't have an issue with that.
I would say,
but it was really,
may I say, this is an honorable touch on the holy connection, what we are calling the courtship. And before we establish this courtship process, I think people need to, apart from self-care, or a part of self-care should be, is to polish our inner spirituality. So we could sense the vibes. We could sense
Absolutely.
whether the person is suitable for us or not, even we.
Absolutely. And that's the benefit. When you do the work, you recognize the person.
Yeah, exactly.
And the most amazing thing is that when you recognize the person, it's almost like, subhanallah, this is too good to be true. But you have literally arrived at some place yourself in your own sense of well-being, that you don't feel that a relationship defines you. It doesn't make you feel less confident or less have less self-worth, right? Or self-esteem, because
yeah, definitely,
you yourself feel confident in who you are.
I think, I think your self-love and version of self-care must be stronger than your desire to be loved by somebody else. If otherwise you come off desperate, and we start allowing some people into our lives and entertaining potential spouses that wouldn't be good for us. So definitely. And you talk about polishing the heart, and I it's really beautiful, because in our religion we hear that our spouse is half of our deen all the time. You know, it's on the tip of our tongue. And it's beautiful because our spouse really does help us grow in our faith. But you can't come into a marriage expecting your spouse to complete your faith. They're there to help you grow in faith, not to complete, you know, for you to have no faith and them to completely walk in the door and say, I'll teach you everything. And this is not a great mindset.
Well, we have personal responsibility to make sure that we are always working on ourselves.
We're bringing something to the table, each of us. Absolutely.
And if we both do that work ourselves, then we, you know, the rising tide lifts all boats, then everybody benefits from that work. So when I improve myself, it improves the relationship, and vice versa. It's always a win-win situation.
I have a question here. When you're designing a methodology or course to be, you know, delivered for the youth, or designing for the youth, majority of the literature in the West, I have a lot of collection on books on with the topic, or maybe the theme is romance management, how to improve your love management skills. The idea of commitment, the idea of, you know, how do you express yourself, how do you improve your communication skills, how do you communicate. So these all courses are available in Western languages, written by Western authors. From the America, Dr. Barbara D. Angels, if I remember correctly, she is very good in the romance management, you know, books, 5 languages of love. There is a series of books on this topic. I don't find any book, you know, in the current scenario written by any Muslim scholar, because we are all busy on theology. We are not busy. We are not focusing on emotions and emotional well-being of the Muslim communities. And we think this is something haram, even to talk about on love and romance. Love is only reserved for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Love is not to be discussed, you know, in public about how do you manage all these things. Now here, before my question, when I was looking into this, then I designed a course, Romance Management Skills in Islam. And in 1997, I delivered my first lecture on Valentine's Day, Islam on romance management. And people were shocked because they were not expecting that there is any such thing in Islam.
Sure.
And when I was looking, you know, trying to find out material in Islam written by Muslim scholars, you will be surprised to know 850 years ago in Spain, when Muslims were ruling in Spain, Imam Ibn Jawzi, very famous name in Salafi and, you know, other school of thought, he wrote a book, Tawqul Humama, in Arabic, the dove's necklace, which is translated by A.J. Argry, very famous Orientalist. That book, Imam Ibn Jawzi, looking at your, you know, model, he was looking around and looking at the youth of his time and saw that youth is, you know, they're going in a different direction in the name of love and romance. So he wrote a book with 50 chapters, and like chapter number 1 is the definition of love. Chapter number 2 is it possible to fall in love in the first sight or not?
Sure.
Then eye to eye contact, how to write a love letter, the difference between genuine love and the other kind of love. The difference
Infatuation.
yeah. So all these topics which we are discussing today, which we are considering today by the Western scholars, were written by Imam Ibn Jawzi 850 years ago. And that book was taught in European university. From there, they got the idea of developing romance management skills. Now, all
Wow.
the books we read today are the basis is that one single book.
Wow, mashallah.
And there are a lot of books, but these books are now, nobody knows that our Muslim scholars who were very much God focused, they were also very much concerned for our youth to train their romance management skills. And if you go through Muslim literature history, most of the literature is, I would say is around the love stories of Muslim soldiers falling in love with the women. And most of our Sahabas, when they were conquering different part of the world, when they were preaching Islam, they fell in love with the non-Muslim ladies. The same idea of courtship. And we can so this material is there, but no one is approaching that material to convert it into a book or methodology or course so that we can teach our existing present day Muslim youth. And I was happy to see both of you focusing on this part. So my idea is this: now your methodology, your work is how you are finding all this. I know you're both certified coach, so there's a lot of guidelines in psychology, there's a lot of guidelines in scientific process written by Western scholars, which is also I consider as Islamic. But when you connect the dots with Islamic verses, Quranic verses, hadiths of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and then you look for case studies from the Muslim communities, how do you go through this painful process of finding references which are very difficult to find?
What a beautiful question. And it's been so relevant in our journey this last couple of years. And I'm actually in the process right now being certified as a Gottman Institute facilitator. And the Gottman Institute is one of the best and most incredible Western, they're leaders in the science of relationships. Dr. John Gottman and his wife, Julie Gottman, both of them are doctors. And they actually have an Islamic guide attached to their work.
Oh, okay.
They actually, it's incredible. And I'm in the process of really just completely indulging myself into it and learning every single thing. And it really connects back to our Quran and the Sunnah. And it's so beautiful because a lot of the Western methodologies that are out there do so beautifully intertwine with our faith. And it is difficult because we haven't caught up. We haven't, like you're saying, the knowledge it exists. It just isn't in the right hands yet. It hasn't been translated. It hasn't been looked at enough by the scholars, unfortunately, yet. But inshallah, we're praying in this next 10 years, this next decade, we catch up because we have a long ways to go. And I'll tell you, as a revert, I've been Muslim now for a little over 5 years, alhamdulillah. And I was Catholic for many years. The Catholic Church, they're advanced in this field. And
I would say, sorry to cut you, I would say Catholics are more romantic than Protestants.
They have an incredibly intertwined program in their churches and their dioceses that really help walk couples from the moment they meet to even having marital problems in a heart-centric, faith-centric way. And as Muslims, we need to catch up. We need more people doing this work and more people doing this research. We cannot have enough of us.
And I think our unique angle, is this, that we have all the data available to us and all the techniques and methodologies, but you need someone who has, number one, experience, and number two, can teach that in a way that people understand. And I think that's where the disconnect is. You could read something, right, and analyze it, but oftentimes you can't see the context. How does this apply to me? And mashallah, I would say that Victoria and I are different because we have life experience, we have the academic experience, and now we've taken that, and we've both been facilitators for many years. So we were able to take that information and make it bite-sized and lead people into critically thinking about their options, their choices, to understand that information in their own lives. And I think that's what is the unique angle that Victoria and I bring is really practical, contextualized information that people can take away and say, I can use this right now.
Since I'm also learning from this session, I'm one of the audience. I have a question. It's not a question like I would like to share my experience and I would like you to comment on it, whether I'm on the right track or not. Imam Ibn Jawzi wrote another book, Kitabul Azkiya. And nowadays in psychology, we have a study of intelligence and stupidity. So he wrote two books. One is on the signs of stupidity and what it is, how to deal with stupid people. Another book was how to deal with intelligent people and what is intelligence. And he mentioned and also this romance topic is also available in Sufi's books. I read in one of the Sufi book that I would say your ability to love is based on your IQ level. And the better you are in your IQ level, the better you are in a position to manage and protect your loved or the process of your romance, I would say. But in order to protect your IQ level, you need to have a spiritual awakening, which means the more you are connected with the divine, the more your IQ is protected. The more your IQ is protected, it will give strength and foundation to your loving and romance skill. So that's why in the entire literature written by Muslim scholars, romance and love both are God-minded, God-focused. As sister said, the courtship, the idea is not to just meet one another, but is to find your other half, which is somewhere in the universe, and through this process of courtship, keeping the God in mind that he will guide you. And the best way to be connected with God, as one of the hadiths or saying of Hazrat Ali says, if you knew yourself properly, you will find God within you. So it's like if you knew yourself properly, you will be able to see more clearly who is, who is meant to be in your life with the help, assistance of divine. So I think the idea of romance, courtship, and the idea of love, these all the ideas are linked with spirituality, and spirituality with linked with your, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or with your divine consciousness, I would say. So this is my humble understanding. I would like you to guide me. How do I see?
Well, that's an absolutely beautiful concept. I have not read it. I would love to, inshallah. But the idea of this really equates to, in the last 50 years, we have this idea of EQ versus IQ. And so this really, and if we were to put this simply, this is really your emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
So we can be, because we all know there are people out there who have the incredible love stories, incredible love lives and marriage stories, and they may be not the most highest IQ people, right?
Exactly.
But they have a high EQ. So this is what you're talking about. They have something deeper than just numbers on a paper. It's something that is, like you said, a divine connection to Allah, a divine connection and knowing of themselves that really gives them that ability. We can only love as much as our ability to love ourselves, to love someone else.
Well, actually, the deeper you go inside yourself,
exactly,
the more it becomes clearer. Now, I remember Victoria, as you were speaking, she said something to me. She said, if I saw you amongst 1,000 camels, I would have recognized you.
Exactly. MashaAllah.
And the idea of that was that she was so sure that it would be very easy for her to see me. And this is the thing, that when you're able to see yourself, you're able to see the other.
It becomes very quick when you're out in the world, and we're really firm believers that you can meet your potential spouse anywhere. It doesn't have to be an arranged marriage, like you were saying. It can be, we actually met online over social media, and it was interesting. We weren't looking for a spouse. Neither of us. We were single. We weren't looking, but because we resonated so strongly with each other, it was undeniable. The connection, it was just, that was all in the work of Allah. But we had prepared, and as we use that term, tie your camel, we had done the work, we had prepared. And so I really could have recognized him so easily amongst 1,000 other men,
And
as you would say.
this was a divine intervention in your
Yes.
plan.
Alhamdulillah, we believe this. So yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And
And
so
I
we
think-
really do believe you can find anyone anywhere.
And I think the idea of your courtship, the one you are defining, is we can find that idea and story in a romantic love story of Hazrat Khatija Raziallahu Ta'ala anha and the marriage with the Holy Prophet Muhammad. He used to work for Hazrat Khatija Raziallahu Ta'ala anha for her business. But this is how they communicated with one another with utmost, highest value, moral values and honor. And they fell in love with one another and they got married.
That's right.
Yeah, we're working on a course right now that we'll be launching, inshallah, in the next month on the language of love. And it's a take on Gary Chapman's love languages, but from an Islamic perspective. And it's beautiful to attach what the work Dr. Gary Chapman has done and connect it to our beautiful faith. Because there is just so many incredible love stories.
So will I get some discount if I...
You'll be the guest of honor.
You'll be the guest of honor, inshallah. You are welcome to attend. We would love to have you.
And I know we love the work that we do, and we always say, sometimes people don't understand this, but the value of a coach is invaluable. Yeah. Because they're able to be a sounding board for you, able to help you see things that you can't see because you're in it. Potentially can save you from years and years of misery and hardship, perhaps. But this is our job. We do this. We're professionals, and we help guide people to get the best person for them. And I think that's the most important thing, that if you want a doctor, if you want to heal, you want medicine, go to a doctor, but the person that is best suited for that area of your life, you have to approach those people and seek that help and support, because it's there for a reason.
Absolutely.
Now we are running out of time. That the last question I would like to ask both of you, Sister Victoria and Brother Tafazal, the importance of supporting system in how can we guide people. We see our son, daughter, or someone else, the youth. How can we design a support system, or how can we give them support if someone is going through this process of courtship?
Well, definitely getting support and guidance is so important. And as Muslims, it's actually written into our faith that we do this. That's why we have, the wali, we have family members, and we have this beautiful system in place. Do not deny it. Whether it's someone in your community, a family or friend, or as my husband mentioned, getting a coach, getting a therapist, getting someone who is knowledgeable in this field. Don't drop the ball. We talk about someone who goes to college or university to get a degree, and they put so much effort and time and money into that. But yet here we are preparing for marriage, and we do nothing. We just assume it's going to work. Yeah, it's just going to work. Everything's going to work.
Exactly.
The knowledge is just going to be somehow magically implanted in your head, and it doesn't happen. So don't be afraid to reach out and connect with people that know this back to front to really get that guidance. I think that's so important.
I mean, it could potentially be the difference between having a marriage that's very transactional, a marriage that's very exponential, and you have this love, connection, and bond between another person, and every single day becomes the best day ever. So are you willing to trade off this for this? And then most people will say no, they want this, but for that there's something that comes with it. It's the effort, it's the work, it's the understanding, and just like Victoria said, in any area of a vocation even and thing we want to pursue, we have to put the work in to get there. And it's the same with this. Relationships are absolutely crucial. And I always say, and maybe this is the last thing we mentioned, you have to be careful of the person you're going to marry, because they'll be the mother or the father of your child.
Exactly.
Right? They'll be your leisure friend, right? Be going on the treks and the gym with you, right? They'll be your business advisor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll be your retirement buddy.
And your neck as well.
Sorry?
Your neck as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's right. So, it's about this person could be, inshallah, with you for the rest of your life.
Exactly. So, but what I'm getting is, right now we're talking about courtship before marriage, but I think the course you are designing should be also courtship after marriage, because once you get married, then you need to know how to, strengthen that partnership the holy partnership or maybe the teamwork, because after marriage it becomes more sensitive and more important. So the
Absolutely.
same
And that's
principle can also work on that. Am I right?
And that's what Victoria is doing. She's doing the Gottman Institute certified course as well to just help couples to be able to navigate through those, ups and downs in life, because we're
In
human
marriage,
beings.
yeah, definitely.
And I
Absolutely.
hope she's not taking you as a case study there in the institution.
I'm always
We're
available.
always the case study.
I'm
Always.
available.
It's a TED talk in our home every day and a coaching session every day. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Mashallah, mashallah. May Allah bless you both and protect you from evil eye. And it seems like people are getting older, but it seems like both of you are getting younger every day, day by day.
There is a secret. There is a secret. That's called well-being.
Exactly. And this is, I think, we also need to protect ourselves, because not only because of the marriage, or because we are also the Ummah of Holy Prophet Muhammad. And he said, one way to increase Ummah is through this relationship, marriage, families, and all. So Islam is not a religion of theology also, but the entire theology, is about family, community, connections, well-being of human being, everything else. And this all material, I'm sure you are going to include in your course, and this is going to be a very, very popular course, inshallah, with especially your background experiences coming from a painful process. And then I think that process polished you. Maybe Allah wanted you to have this course, and he let you go through all these experiences so that he's preparing you for the divine responsibility to guide other community members, whether they are Muslim, non-Muslims, Christian, Jews. I think this is a community responsibility, not just Islamic responsibility. Because when you see two young people, whether they are Muslim, Christian, think of them as they are our own kids. They are our own brothers, sisters.
They're human beings at the end of the day.
Exactly.
We're all human beings. We pretty much have the similar feelings, emotions, aspirations in life, so it's really important that we have a very kind, wholesome, and balanced society.
Yeah, and also some people you will see they accept Islam because of theological, study and comparison. I'm sure a lot of people are going to come to Islam when they start attending these courses, and will see this face of Islam also, because Islam also protects love, romance, and other emotional, intelligence.
Inshallah,
This is the thing which is not known to many Westerners. And I think Dr. Gary, the 5 languages of love, I think you will not only be learning from him, but you will be also teaching to him the Islamic wisdom, which he can also maybe write a book on the 5 love languages of Muslim values or Muslim love or whatever, depends on the focus is. So thank you very much for both of your precious time, and may God bless you both, and hope
and you too as well.
We will come back again with another topic. But this was very interesting, and I learned a lot, frankly speaking. Mashallah, mashallah. So
Thank you.
Any last words you want to say both?
No, just a beautiful conversation, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you today. Love is universal language, and our goal is to create, cultivate, and celebrate love with everyone, inshallah.
And we hope, inshallah, one day, we come to Pakistan as well.
Yes, we do.
We meet face to face, and we're able to engage with the people there.
Inshallah, this was one of the reasons that I want you to have a meeting, and let's record it and put it on YouTube so that people get to know you. And there's a lot of need in Pakistan also, because we are relying on, so-called secular definition of love and all those things. And we are forgetting what Islam, beautiful romantic stories are available in Islamic literature, starting from the life of Holy Prophet Muhammad, his wives, and then the wives of Sahabas. And there are a lot of historical, true Islamic case studies, I would say, not just the imaginary. So thank you so much. And inshallah, we'll come back again with another episode. And thank you very much whoever is watching this TV. I will put your website address in the video description. So anyone who would like to know more about your work, they can contact you directly, inshallah.
That's right.
So thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz. Goodbye.
Take care.